Phone from Abuja in Nigeria for us. Yvonne, you know Côte d'Ivoire well. Explain to us what's going on there at the moment. It's been a very volatile situation for some time.
Yes, Lauren. Well, first of all, it's really difficult to establish the truth of what's going on. I mean, for example, the incident that was mentioned in your introduction regarding 6 women being killed in a Ouattara stronghold. As was reported, 6 people are reported to be dead. But when you speak to the military and to the police in Abidjan, they say that it's much less. But one thing is certain: the security situation seems to be deteriorating quite rapidly. However, it's also worth pointing out that despite many reports, there have been no clashes whatsoever between supporters of Alassane Ouattara and of Laurent Gbagbo. The clashes have always been between supporters of Alassane Ouattara, the internationally recognized winner of November's election, and members of the security forces. And those clashes have always been limited to one particular district of Abidjan, and that's Abobo. On the diplomatic front, efforts to sort this crisis out seem to be dead in the water. Presidents from the African Union were supposed to issue a report at the end of February, basically coming up with a solution to end the deadlock. They're now saying that they need another month to deliberate and decide what they're going to do. The African Union is simply divided about what to do. Some African nations believe that what the Constitutional Court said, which is that Gbagbo won, is what should stand. And some say, well, what the Electoral Commission said, which was that Ouattara had won, should stand. But one thing is for sure, Lauren, I think Ivorians are really going to sort this problem out themselves. There's unlikely to be any kind of intervention of the sort that was talked about late last year.
In the meantime, though, lots of people are very worried about the situation, and they've been fleeing their homes, and presumably kind of humanitarian disaster in the making there.
Well, that's right. But again, it's really important to point out that there are around 10 neighborhoods in Abidjan. And again, the people fleeing are fleeing from one particular part of Abidjan. That neighborhood is called Abobo. It's a stronghold of the winner of the election, at least according to the Electoral Commission. That's Alassane Ouattara. And his supporters, as you can imagine, have been really upset and angry over the months about Laurent Gbagbo's failure to step down from power. And every now and then they take to the streets and they clash with security forces, and inevitably they're killed. Now, there is a question: why isn't this violence, or there is a question about why the confrontation, so to speak, is not spreading to other parts of Abidjan. And the reason has to be, Lauren, is that Laurent Gbagbo still enjoys major support amongst some Ivorians in Abidjan. And, of course, the police and the military are still 100% behind Laurent Gbagbo.
OK, Yvonne Ndege, thank you very much indeed for bringing us up to date on that story. At least 9 people have been killed by a suicide bomber in northwestern Iraq. It happened in the town of Haditha, north of Baghdad. A local police commander said the bomber was targeting Iraqi soldiers collecting their paychecks outside a bank. After 2 US Air Force personnel were shot dead at Frankfurt Airport, German police say the suspected gunman was born in Germany, but his family is from Kosovo. The airmen were attacked as their military coach arrived at Frankfurt Airport, and Nick Spicer is there.
I'm standing outside of Terminal 2 at Frankfurt Airport, one of the biggest and busiest in the world, and this is where people are picked up and dropped off. Some 10 to 15 American servicemen transiting from the United Kingdom were being picked up on a bus right here when there was an altercation involving a 21-year-old man, a German citizen originally from Kosovo. Shots were fired. He killed the driver of the bus, a serviceman aboard the bus. Both were members of the military police, we understand. 2 other people were injured. He then ran inside the terminal, where he was wrestled to the ground by an uninjured serviceman and a German police officer. German authorities won't speculate as to motive, even though American authorities are suggesting there may be some kind of religious motivation. Some reports say that the man cried out, "God is great," before firing. The German Chancellor Angela Merkel has said she was deeply saddened by what took place and that everything would be done to find out what was behind it.
9 people have been killed in a suicide attack on a police station in northwestern Pakistan. Officials say a lorry carrying explosives rammed into the building in Hangu district. 30 others were wounded. A judge in Lahore has ruled that a CIA contractor accused of killing 2 Pakistanis will not enjoy diplomatic immunity. Raymond Davis maintains he acted in self-defense. The case has strained relations between the US and Pakistan and inflamed anti-American sentiment there. AlJazeera's Kamal Haider has been following the case.
Indeed, it would be considered a major setback for the Americans, but this is a trial court and the case has still a long way to go. The matter can come up at the High Court. The High Court could grant that immunity, which the Americans have been saying that Raymond Davis has had all along. The court is being held in Court Lakhpat jail. The Americans are taking very keen interest in this. In fact, their consulate general in the city of Lahore was also in court today. She's been following this very closely. So for the Americans, this would be a disappointing day. But for the Pakistanis, who've also said all along that the matter is now before the courts, and only the courts have the jurisdiction to decide the fate of Raymond Davis. Davis was said to have been, on the day of the incident, Davis is said to have been riding in a private car. It was not registered in the name of the embassy, at which point he says somebody tried to rob him. The Pakistanis, of course, saying that the circumstances were very different, that the people never pulled out the gun. That, of course, is the police reports. But there were a lot of witnesses. This happened in a very busy area of Lahore, and therefore the public outcry became a real problem for the government, because on the one hand, it was the relationship with the United States. On the other hand, it was the backlash from the public. So the Raymond Davis case has, of course, received a lot of attention, a media hype. But it's very difficult for the government to maneuver when it comes to this complicated issue.
And Everton Fox is here with the weather for us. So I gather there's some more flooding for South America.
Yeah, that's right. No less than 9 countries have suffered flooding in South America over the last 3 months, this particular rainy season. And we've seen torrential downpours. It's back down to that southeastern corner of Brazil where we're seeing the heaviest of the rainfall at the moment. We've had days and days and days of very heavy rain coming in across a good part of southeastern Brazil. It's slowly going to make its way away over the next couple of days or so. Brighter skies eventually pushing back in, but as I said, at the moment we do still see plenty of very wet weather. See from these pictures, this is a football stadium, would you believe, Lauren? There's incredible scenes there, nice belly flops going on. And would you believe the match actually took place? So I think we can say conditions were somewhat heavy. What we can see from our satellite picture, this long line of cloud just rolling out of the Atlantic into that southeastern corner of Brazil. It's continuing to make its way a little further eastwards, but we've seen rainfall in the same place over the last few days, and there's more to come. You can see this little circulation here. That is what is known as the Bolivian low. We will see further heavy rainfall to come here in the coming days. And you can see for much of the Amazon basin, it stays very disturbed. We've had flooding in Bolivia as well in recent days. We will see further showers here, showers stretching up into Peru and into Ecuador. Again, areas that have seen flooding in recent times. We've also seen flooding across the other side of the South Atlantic into parts of southern Africa. Wettest rain at the moment. These seasonal rains continue to drift their way across Angola into Zambia, into northern parts of Mozambique, southern Tanzania, and also into Madagascar. And that's going to be the line of the wettest weather over the next few days.